I bring it up because Brent Smith had said, I've seen songs cure cancer. It's pretty powerful. I got to tell you, though, that's something that's, especially in the last few years, I've noticed it more. Like, music is a powerful thing. Well, I agree that music is a powerful thing. It's my favorite media. It's my favorite art form, and it's not even close. I would take music over anything else. And I do think it's powerful. I think music is a unifier. I've said one of my least favorite things about streaming is I don't know what you're into. If I come to your house and you're like, all right, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, make yourself at home, whatever. And I start going through your bookshelf, which a lot of people don't have. Or I start going through your album shelf. And I start going through, it's like, oh, okay, so dude, all right, she owns a copy of Exile on Main Street. She's all right. Right? Now, of course, the Cancer Research Center in the UK says music therapy cannot cure, treat, or prevent any type of therapy can help you. And so I buy. Like listening to something you like, all right, I'm going to be okay. Everything's okay. All right. Okay. That's an easy point of entry for me. It also helps them improve quality of life. Well, yeah, I would agree. That not just sitting in the bed going, I'm going to die in 6 days because of this, and like listening to Stairway to Heaven a couple of more times, probably a good way to do that. Absolutely. Music improves my quality of life every single day. So I have no problem believing it improves quality of life for people, as I, again, think I've seen it in my own life. It can reduce symptoms and side effects. And that's where Dwayne had written in. He's like, look, man, he goes, I'm going to go to the far end of the earth here to try to help him out. He goes, music itself curing cancer is obviously nonsense, but the benefit of concerts and stuff could fund the research to cure cancer. That's a stretch for sure, he said. I said, well, yeah. Like, look, if he had made that point, I would have been on his side. I would have been on his side. He's not necessarily making it. He's making the point that what people say about laughter being the best medicine, he's basically saying music is medicine. I have an issue with that. This came in off my text line, 330-450-7625. And I'll have to look more into this. But this is telling me here, regular music does not cure cancer. However, there is research being conducted that shows certain frequencies of sound does destroy cancer cells. Again, they say this is not music. I'll look more into that. I've heard a little bit about it. I don't know enough about it to speak to it definitively. And I'm sorry about that. Another person here, this again off the text line at 330-450-7625. I think what he's trying to say is that music helps to alleviate the signs and symptoms of the disease. I know for me, no matter the ailment, music helps take myself out of my head space and into a better frame of mind. You know, miracles do happen every day. People claim they've been cured or touched by an angelic light, God from above, creator who works wonders all the time. Why can't music, which is divinely inspired, do the same? Well, their point continues. I guess what I want to know is, are we saying that all music is divinely inspired, or are you making the point that only divinely inspired music would cure? I'd like to know what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying there. You don't think all music is divinely inspired. As a matter of fact, we know for sure that's not true. And so that brings up a good point. Like, what is going to cure cancer? Shinedown's Fly from the Inside? Megan Thee Stallion songs? Ave Maria? Like, what's it going to be? Like, I guess that's where my questions would come. This person's point continues, maybe it has helped someone make it through their cancer. Maybe it didn't cure them in a way you'd think, but maybe they were able to forget what ails them while they are lost in the music and the melody. Again, I'm not arguing any of that. I'm arguing Brent Smith's point of saying the word cure. He's making the point, dude, that you can cure cancer by listening to music. That is a ridiculous statement. As a matter of fact, another way to say ridiculous statement is what? 2 words. Fine. I'll use just the one word. Misinformation. That's the bad one, right? Oh my God. That's the worst thing. That's a threat to democracy, the misinformation is. See? What he's saying is misinformation. Do we stop him from saying it? What about the 17-year-old idiot who likes Shinedown as their favorite band, who's now going to think Brent Smith is telling him the truth? Where's the day? You know what I mean? I'm not that guy, but you know, this is how people end up not being able to say stuff, is because people say things like that. He can think what he wants. It's fine. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. I doubt very highly anybody in my life who ends up getting cancer, and they say, we've seen medicinal cures, not cure everybody, right? And we've seen, so, okay, maybe I'm making that a little too far. Think about all the people you sing this from it. I don't care what you think about running, and statements like that are the reason why. I owe you guys an apology. I told you I was going to give you these Burt Kreischer tickets, and then I forgot to do it. It's my bad there. We'll get you hooked up here momentarily. Teams back reiterating them current. Now, I'm not looking to like trash the guy, but I'm like, I don't know if I buy it, right? Like, I don't know if I buy that. It can be a little bit of an interesting conversation. And so we were talking about that, and, people have been telling me that there are, instances here, like, I got to go back to this text line, 330-450-7625. I can't open more than one of these at once. I apologize. But I was sent an article here that I plan on reading in a little while about new ultrasound treatment kills off cancer cells. Now, I don't know if that's going to be one of those things where it's like, well, when you read the article, it's like, well, does it really kill them off? I'll get my eyes on it, and I'll try to find that out. Also, I was getting hung up on the word cure, so this came in off the text line of 304-507-625. Somebody sent me the definition of the word cure from a printed dictionary. I mentioned that because I pulled it up on dictionary.com on my phone too, and there's a few differences here. But according to this dictionary here, cure, to bring back to health, to treat concrete by watering or chemical means is part of curing, right? And this is maybe my bad. When I'm cured, meaning I no longer worry about it. That's maybe me using the wrong definition of the word. Sounds like it is. I kind of feel like all of us use that definition of that word then, right? Cure means you don't longer have it anymore. That's how most people receive it. I have it here at dictionary.com. Definition for cure: a means of healing or restoring to health, a remedy, a method or course of remedial treatment as for the disease. Now, that's different than, again, no longer having it. Remedial treatment, I don't think, is the same thing. Another one here: successful remedial treatment, restoration to health, a means of correcting or relieving anything that is troublesome or detrimental. The act or method of preserving meat, we talked about that a little bit. Spiritual or religious charge of the people in a certain district, the office or district of a curate or parish priest, and of course, mostly to restore to health is what they're saying. To relieve or rid of something detrimental, such as an illness or a bad habit, are different things. And so I think maybe you're right there. If you're talking about relief and cure, technically relief is in the definition of that word, then I guess mostly you'd be right there. I don't think, now, welcome to people. We use words all the time inaccurate. God knows I do, right? But like, we kind of have stretched the definition of what words mean. We have seen the dictionary change definitions of words, like recession and a few other ones. And so we've seen that those changes can happen. And I think maybe what I was doing while reading Brent Smith's comments was taking him too literally. Because I do think music is, I don't know if I can go as far as to call it medicine, but I do think it can be good for you. Now, what you consume, that can be bad for you too, right? A lot of negativity can come in music. Like, people say, oh, I listen to stuff, I feel better. I got to be honest with you. If I'm in a bad mood, like bad mood, it happens a lot, and I listen to like loud, aggressive music, I'm not in a better mood right then. It actually heightens that mood for me. When I'm done and I feel like I got the emotional release of listening to it, then I feel better. But if I'm in a like rage mood and I listen to rage music, it doesn't calm me down. It makes me feel more of that. And for me, this is a me thing. For me, I feel like what it's doing is like a wet towel. It's kind of wringing it out of me. And then only after, I'm not going to wipe myself with that wet towel, only after wringing the water out and it's more dry, then would I use it again. And that's kind of how I view that. If I'm sad, I listen to sad music, it doesn't make me happy. I'm trying to go all the way into the emotion, to swim in the deepest part of that pool to get through to the other side. That's how I do. Not that everybody has to listen to music the way I do, or not that it will affect you the way it affects me. You know, I think maybe what I was doing there is being a little too guilty of using the everyday definition of the word cure, which means if you said to somebody, my mom's been cured of cancer, nobody is going to think or feel like you just told them they found a way to relieve your mother's pain during cancer. Absolutely nobody is going to think. As a matter of fact, if somebody finds out your mother still had cancer, they're probably not going to yell at you, but they probably would yell at your friend and go, what the hell, dude, that person told me they were delicate. Why the hell would they lie to me like that? So I took issue with what Brent Smith was saying because it made it sound to me like, the Mayo Clinic, screw them. Right, the Cancer Center of America, Cancer Center of Omaha, screw them. Listen to Fly from the Inside, you'll be fine. Right, like that's the way that sounded. It also sounded like, let's be honest, it sounded a little bit like a guy wanted to make what he does for a living just that much more important, didn't it? Who needs that guy in the white coat? I'm the guy curing cancer. You want to talk about doctors having a God complex? That kind of sounds like a God complex coming out of Shinedown. And I hate saying it. He's one of the world's nicest guys. I met just about every rock star I care about. And let me tell you right now, that dude was a good dude. Both times. Even the time he passed out on heroin, he was still nice to us. He was still nice to us. Good dude. Really good dude. Right? So I hate jumping up and down on him, and I don't even really feel like that's what I'm doing. But it's interesting. I guess maybe I should keep a more open mind to it. I mean, people make the argument all the time that music influences people to make decisions, to shoot up schools, to sell drugs, or whatever the hell the thing is. So if it can take you all the way through those types of things, if it can do that, if it can change who you are, if it can do that, because a lot of people believe that it'll change who you are, it'll make you do something you wouldn't have done. I don't know if I buy that personally. Again, I've listened to every form of music my entire life. I've said this a million times. I grew up listening to as much NWA and Pete Rock and CL Smooth as much as I did Iron Maiden. I mean, equal amounts. Absolutely. Grandmaster Flash and Kiss. Absolutely. Right down the middle. You know what I mean? I don't dress up like Kiss, even when I go see them. I don't rob stores. I don't do that stuff. It's entertainment. But not everybody out there is smart, right? Some people out there are dopes and get moved around the board pretty easily. How you doing, John? And that will happen. And so maybe I should keep a more open mind to this. And if you are in the struggle of disease, grab for everything you can. Because like I said, I don't know it's going to cure the cancer cells in your body. I think that's a little silly, personally. But will listening to your favorite song make you feel better? And is that the most important thing while you're alive and suffering from a disease like cancer? Feeling better? Maximizing the good in any particular day? I think the answer there is yes. To me, this feels like a placebo a little bit. But it doesn't matter to me as long as you get the effect you were looking for. Placebo or not. If you are feeling the effect, that's hard for me to hate. Bert Kreischer is in town. That is June 20th at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. Let's get caller 15 in right now. The number's 330-450-7625 or toll free at 800-243-7625. And more Stansbury shows next right here on Rock 106.9. Shout out to Doug Coffey out of East Canton. On his way in to see Bert Kreischer. I'll have tickets for you guys tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday on the program. I meant to get to this a little earlier, and we may open this door again tomorrow, but I ran across a list of things that rich people are frugal about. You know, there's a lot of disdain for rich people right now, and I think there's always been waves of this, but it seems pretty high right now, and my guess is it's just because conversations are louder than ever. But there's this misconception that rich people just like waste their money. Some do, others are frugal, right? A penny saved is a penny earned, is a saying that you have heard plenty of times. Now, not if you put it in the bank because inflation chews it and blah, 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 and like all that stuff that people talk about, right? But not wasting money helps you keep your money. I've said it before. I read this book, Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. Gen Z loves trashing Dave Ramsey, has given out bad advice. Here's what I can tell you. It completely fixed my financial life. I now have more money than I've ever had in my entire life. I am not making the most money of my career right now. I'm not even close. But I'm still doing pretty well, but I'm not making the most money I've made in my career. Like, I'm not. And yet I have more money than ever before because so much of my financial problems were my problem. My spending, my this, my that, whatever. So I ran across this list here. They got to talking to some rich people about what they're frugal about. And I don't think I do enough of this, right? The last thing on this list is using plastic shopping bags to line the trash cans at home. Okay, well, in my kitchen, I use a kitchen bag in that. I don't line the garbage can that the city gave me to put the bags into the can of. So in my home, this would be a trash can in my office at my house, or maybe the bathroom. Okay. Yeah, occasionally I'll use like the blue Giant Eagle bag and like line the bathroom can. And then I look at my bathroom garbage can sometimes. I'm like, what am I lining it for? What the hell am I throwing in here? Everything gross gets put in the toilet and flushed down the drain. Like everything else. So it's like, well, there's really not much to be afraid of in there. That it never really gets all gunked up. It's like, yeah, I toss it out and then rinse it out. It's pretty much the end of that, right? I don't necessarily have to worry about that. Another rich person says, my entire wardrobe, aside from socks and underwear, is secondhand. Yeah, secondhand underwear is a tough look. That's tough. Socks, I wouldn't want to do that either. And I don't buy clothes. Spending money on clothing is not how I waste my money anymore. It used to be. It's not one of those things. As a matter of fact, I need to spend more money on clothes. I need to start shopping more. I need to do a better job of that. I've gotten to the point in my life where it's like, I'm old, I'm lazy, I don't give a damn. Absolutely none of this is going to help me do anything I want. I don't care, but I need to do a little bit better of a job of it. Water at restaurants and no appetizers or extra toppings is what another rich person says. Well, water's a healthy choice, so I can't hate that. We should all be, and myself included, drinking way more water than we are. They say a gallon a day. People think they do it. You're not drinking a gallon of water by accident. Like, it's not, very few people are working strenuously enough to where it's like you put a gallon of water in your body without missing or without having to try the fact that you did it. So I can go along with the water at restaurants. No appetizers or extra toppings. I'm surprised there was no dessert in that statement, as that to me feels like the more wasteful is not the right word. To me, dessert is more of the excess than appetizer. Appetizer is, I'm all goddamn hungry. Bring me something, right? Like there's a little bit of I need pre-food, man. Like there's a little bit of that where after I eat my meal, I should be done. Right? Now, I guess what you're going to tell me is, well, no, dude, the dessert is part of the meal. You haven't finished your meal until you eat that. Dessert was not a big part of, like, I know a lot of people grew up with dessert when their mom made dinner. Like, she made, like, the meatloaf, and then there was cherry pie after that. That was never a thing in my house. Dessert after dinner my mother made, not a thing. There might have been some Entenmann's cookies laying on the counter, but, like, my mom wasn't going out of her way to make an extra dessert for dinner, unless it was a holiday. So, but I don't think appetizers are going to send you to the poorhouse, right? This one's kind of strange. Divide paper towels to use what's actually needed. Okay, so I'm bad about this. Like, I'll just grab a paper towel, and if it's 3 of them, all right, I guess I'm using 3 of them right now. Like, I'm bad about wasteful, and that's bad, because that affects you, it affects everybody, right? It's paper and trees and all this other stuff, right? There's an argument in that. I'm very guilty of that. Toilet paper, a little bit of the same thing. Toothpaste is, again, this is on this list. This rich person says one of the ways I say they save their money is by getting every ounce of toothpaste out of a tube. I'm terrible at it. Once I got to curl the end of it twice, and once I'm at like hold it with 2 fingers and push it towards the nozzle, I'm out. I'm out. Should not be out. I make enough money to do that, obviously, but I shouldn't be doing it. I do things like that all the time. I'll get sick of a deodorant stick and throw it out and then buy another. Like, I don't really like that one anyway. I'll just give me this one, throw it out. Parents were the water in the shampoo bottle people to try to stretch out to the end of the month because, working for Jesus pays absolutely nothing unless you're a crook, right? And so, like, we were those people, and I think maybe it's because I grew up like that Because again, people think I grew up in Aurora Shores, so everybody thinks my parents were rich. It's like, no. My parents were like house poor. They were trying to create this false sense of like, you're growing up in a great situation to my brother and I. They were trying to lie, right? But they didn't have money. I mean, not even a little bit of money did they have. And so they did all that kind of stuff. And so now that I'm older, I never got married, I don't have children of my own, I don't have to worry about this, that my money is essentially my money. And part of what I buy from that, or with that rather, is the right to be able to be like, throwing that toothpaste out. But I should be doing a better job of this. Another thing I do not do, that this is wasting money, literally taking money out of your pocket and lighting it on fire, and I will not do it. Coupons. I don't do it. I should. Again, how much money would I save? How much better of a deal would I get on something? Don't do it. But again, these are people with a ton of money who are saying, look, yes, do we spend money on a house that you can't afford? Sure we do. One of the ways we do it is by maximizing everything we buy. The secondhand clothes thing is pretty common. Women are better at this than men, right? Like women kind of know how to go into the secondhand store, kind of find the dress that's worth the money, kind of put it on, and they look great. But women can do that everywhere. I once was taking a woman out. I swear to God, this is a true story. This was down here, as a matter of fact. She came down here. She didn't have what she wanted in her bag. And she goes, take me to the, she was living in Cleveland. She's like, let's just go to Walmart. And I was like, what? She's like, just take me to a Walmart. She walked into Walmart with $50. She walked out of there looking like 10 million bucks. I couldn't believe it. I said, did you just get all of that stuff from Walmart? She goes, yeah. I just know what to buy. I know how to put it together. I know what to wear. I know what to, and she looked fantastic. Men can't do that. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, once you got the New Balance on, it's like, dude, everybody knows, right? It's like, you hit the New Balance stage of life, right? It's like, that's kind of what happens there. Secondhand clothes is one of those things I feel like women are great at, and men should learn how to get a little better at. Do you need some cash? Everybody does. So score yourself a $1,000 keyboard and a trip for the iHeartRadio Music Festival. You're doing that right here next on Rock 106.9.
It's time for today's Lucky Land horoscope with Victoria Cash.
Life's gotten mundane, so shake up the daily routine and be adventurous with a trip to Lucky Land. You know what they say, your chance to win starts with a spin. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com to play over 100 social casino-style games for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Get lucky today. LuckyLandSlots.com.
Available to players in the U.S., excluding Washington and Michigan. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Now, I don't think they're bigger than he was at the height of his career. But I think that they are definitely the bigger celebrities right now, and I don't even think it's debatable. And so I think Bert would be a great choice, again, because he's just, people either love his laugh or hate it. And all night long, you're going to have to try to listen to the jokes over top of his, like, cheesy laugh. And I think that could be, hearing other people laugh becomes infectious. And you end up laughing along with something, whether it was funny or not. There's a reason why back in the day, television shows were like, hit the 35 years of their career, it worked. It really worked. But much like we don't use laugh tracks anymore, and like that's not a thing. It changed. But laughing is infectious, and Bert kind of has that. I think he'd be a great roast candidate. Welcome back to the Stansbury Show here on Rock 106.9, online at WRQK.com. Did unearth a pair of tickets to see Bert Kreischer. We'll get those passed out around 9:30 this morning. Every Monday at 8 a.m., I talk to Scott from waitingfornextyear.com. Find Scott at waitingfornextyear.com. Also find him. If you're the bigger interview over top of Bert Kreischer, I'll take Scott any day of the week, my man. Good to have you.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate him taking the 7 o'clock spot. I know he wanted the 8 o'clock spot, but, he did it. Bumped a little earlier, but I too have my shirt off for this interview.
Oh,
so
okay, good.
I think it's all gonna, so a little bit of synergy this morning on a Monday.
Balances out there, my man. We got the Boston Celtics with a 2-0 lead right now over the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals. I got to be honest with you, I would have rather seen, now we still got games to play, but I would have rather seen a Dallas win over Boston. What is better for the NBA? Kyrie and Luka winning a title, or Jason Tatum shutting everybody up, showing, no, dude, I'm an alpha. I can win the finals. I can win a title. What is better for the NBA?
I think it depends on what we're thinking. It's a big market, right?
Yeah.
Boston is probably the darling, right? When you talk through some of the historical aspects of it.
Yeah.
As you and I have talked, Dallas isn't exactly a small market, right?
No.
It's like a top 5 market in the country, but it's just not in the coast, so we don't consider it as
that's a good point.
as one of the big ones. I think either, and honestly, it's probably not a great answer. I think either is good. I think for a while, like who's going to take the baton from a stardom standpoint, right? And obviously talking from the sort of LeBron class of the NBA. We had talked in a couple of years past, is it going to be Giannis? Is it going to be Booker? Is it going to be, and then we're going through this laundry list of people, and it finally seems like Tatum, who's been kind of top 5 NBA MVP vote getter for the last couple of years, but sort of never been the darling, potentially getting one. But then obviously Luka has made a lot of fans over the last several weeks, just given where Dallas was. Dallas didn't make the playoffs last year. Everybody thought Kyrie was, kind of crazy. I don't think we think any less of that now, but he's just not talking as much now, right? He's focusing on basketball, and I think it's been a fun run for those guys. So I don't know. I would love to have seen, especially with a 30-point triple-double, Dallas, pulling that out yesterday.
Yeah.
Now they do get to go home. I think it'll be a different series. Boston.
Yeah.
But, and I know ratings are down and the whole thing, but I think it's been fun basketball over the last couple of rounds of playoffs. And, I think whichever one of these guys gets there first, I think it'll be a good story.
This just came in from one of my listeners, Scott, and I want to get to Caitlin Clark, but I want to ask you about this. Taylor brought up an interesting point about 2 head coaches in the Cleveland market. He feels like Kevin Stefanski and Stephen Vogt are somewhat similar. Neither was heard of or viewed as a head coach or manager until it actually happened. I feel like Stefanski a little bit more than Stephen Vogt, but it's a decent point. And both, according to Taylor, and he's not wrong, seem to be having some success early on and also have success being leaders of their teams. But they, he kind of says like neither really were supposed to be this good. I wouldn't have thought about it that way. I wouldn't have thought about making that comparison between the two. What do you make of that?
My only counterpoint is I do think Stefanski had largely been considered sort of next man up for a very long time.
Okay.
I think if you remember, there was the rumors that Stefanski was the guy they wanted before they got Stefanski. Di Podesta, remember, was rumored to have it all over Kevin Stefanski. So I do think he was sort of the heir apparent for a very long time. But, Vogt, obviously, it's a bit of a different story, right? I mean, I think we talked about this in weeks past. You don't really see a lot of next man up sort of talk in baseball.
You
right?
don't.
You the same thing in the NBA. NFL, you see the coordinators, you see the guys sort of making the magic happen behind the scenes.
They have media days.
Sport, it's a little bit different. I think Stefanski has long been the guy that I think he is who we thought he was, right? To borrow the phrase, but. Yeah, Vogt, I think, is incredibly surprising, largely because the team he inherited wasn't exactly supposed to win a lot of games, and it's happening, right? I think the expectations have always been on the Browns. Ironically, when you said 2 head coaches, I thought you were going with Stefanski and Grable there. I didn't know Vogt was going to be a part of the question, but I think they're both tremendous stories, and hopefully Vogt, it's not just sort of a honeymoon phase sort of situation, and it's something that he can sustain.
Yeah, people had written him off and had written the guards off because of that hire, and they've been absolutely crushing it. I don't know if it's just he's installing a new culture. I don't know if they felt like it was time to make a move, or if it's just seems to be happening. Whatever it is, man, try to bottle it and keep it going because they're looking pretty damn good. Again, the Guards did win yesterday, 6-3 over the Marlins, now 42-22 on the year. Talking to Scott from winningfornextyear.com, and it would be crazy to not talk to you a little bit about Caitlin Clark. While she was still an Iowa Hawkeye, everybody was all obsessed with her. Everybody was talking about how they were going to watch more WNBA games or a WNBA game because she was going to be there. Ratings have kind of shown that. Markets where she's gone and played, they've literally, in Vegas, they moved where they play. They moved to a bigger venue so they could sell more tickets so people could see her. And now the story with Caitlin Clark is what? That she's been left off of USA women's basketball. She's been left off the team. People feel like this is motivated by a lot of factors. I've seen some racially motivated accusations. I've seen just some pure, they don't like the young woman. They are resentful of her because she's getting attention and nobody else is. I can't quite figure out where I come down with this, Scott. Are there negative motivations here? Has she not quite done enough to earn her way into the team? Or, and I think this is the more likely scenario, am I dealing with a Michael Jordan doesn't like Isaiah Thomas? I know Mike has denied it, but Mike, we all know. You went out there and told him if Isaiah is playing